Drop dimes, hit routes, so yeah, we on the move. From the paint to the pocket, got nothing to prove. Precision in the pass, rhythm in the run. Every play, every day, till the work is done.
Yeah. Step on the field, I'm reading the D. Eyes wide open, ain't fooling me. Pump fake sidestep, I'm breaking the press from baseline to sideline. I'm bringing my best, snap back, quick glance. I'm calling the play, hoop dreams and touchdowns. I'm making my way, no look behind the back. Fred in the scene, every angle, every shout. I'm chasing a dream. Drop times, hit routes in the deep, no doubt. From the field to the hardwood, hear the crowd shout. Pass the dish it through traffic. We find.
What's poppin', y'all? It is your boy Guardy 3, and welcome to Coffee and Sports, the morning show. Of course, joining me this morning, he is the pillar of Coffee and Sports, the morning show. He is Mo Betta. How you doing, Mo?
Hey, good morning, Brett, Will, Chat. Monday morning. It's football time.
Absolutely. And of course, also joining us this morning, he is Will Morgan. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good this morning. How you guys doing?
Doing well.
Oh, absolutely. So, guys, I figure we'd kick this off going, right in chronological order of the weekend. So, of course, why don't we start with Saturday? Why don't we start with a little WWE? They made their debut on ESPN with Wrestlepalooza. And I don't know, man. That was felt very underwhelming for the first ever event on ESPN. Guys, what did you guys think of Wrestlepalooza?
Well, I'm gonna let you go first before I'll start my soliloquy.
I'll make it real short. It was beyond underwhelming. They built up this partnership, obviously, with ESPN, ESPN Plus. And so you figure, because it's the first event and you want to kick things off the right way, I really thought all the matches would exceed expectations. And I would argue the pay-per-view that I saw underwhelmed and did not exceed expectations. We don't, so normally we rate these pay-per-views, we go cups of coffees, right?
Yep.
On this one, I'm going no cream, no sugar. Half a cup. It was disappointing to me. It was really bad for it to be the buildup that it was, the partnership that they just started. It's one of the worst pay-per-views I've seen in recent memory.
What do you think, Will?
Trash. You had some good moments. You had Stephanie Verkeer winning the women's championship. That was a good moment over Io Sky. That was a terrific moment. I did like that match. I also did like AJ Lee and her performance in that mixed tag team match, that mixed couples match, with her picking up the win over Becky. But outside of that, and Mo, you're being really nice about it, saying it underwhelmed. It was trash. And I was just disappointed in the fact that you couldn't produce something better for your first time out. And I don't feel that this event brought in any new fans. You might have kept current fans, but with this event, you're not bringing any new fans over to come over to this, to watch this, to become invested in WWE. You didn't do that with this pay-per-view and or this PLE, which I should say. And on cups of coffee, it's half a cup, no cream, no sugar, half a cup of coffee. That's all this is.
I think even you might be being a little too generous, Will, with half a cup, man. I think this coffee, it's been sitting out for a couple months, and then they got you spilled it. I feel like there's just like no cups of coffee on this one. Look, I give it like a quarter cup because it really did feel like the women carried this thing.
Yes.
Stephanie, Bakir, and Io, fantastic. The mixed tag team match, a lot of fun. And then we just look at the other matches, right? The tag match started out with a lot of potential, but then it got cut short, it seemed, because of Jay getting busted open. So
yeah,
that ended up being what could have been match. When it comes to the main event, excuse me, we're talking about a match that would have been fine for like the main event of like a SmackDown, but even then, watching the match, it just didn't make sense. You had Cody Rhodes selling a head injury that just didn't come into play at all. The announcers are selling it, but quite frankly, looked like he just had a migraine. Take some Tylenol and you're all good. They tried to run a match without any outside interference, but said this match still needs interference, so we're just going to have the ref continuously get involved in this match. It was just weird, like the main event. Like, it was fine. If this was an episode of SmackDown, I wouldn't have complained, but it was very underwhelming for your first ever ESPN pay-per-view.
I think I would have went with I like what Brett said. If this was an episode of SmackDown, I kind of feel that way about the whole event. If this were an episode of Raw or SmackDown, I'd have been like, that's a pretty good show. That's a pretty good show for television. But for a pay-per-view, and honestly, while I get why people like the mixed tag, I didn't like it that much because there were too many moments when they did the exact same move. Like, it looked more like synchronized swimming than wrestling. I just didn't like it. It stopped feeling like a wrestling match, and it was almost comical to some extent. Like, the only thing I really liked was the Io Sky Stephanie McCoy match. The rest of it, even the Lesnar Cena thing, I've seen Lesnar do that to Cena before. It's almost like they took an old script and they brought it back out again, and the match went the exact same way. He just bulled through him. I guess to build up for a bigger match between them down the road. It was just a bad pay-per-view.
Yeah, it was interesting. I got a good laugh out at it though, because I will say that because and I'm not trying to be insensitive, but I gotta keep it real. To see them kids cry like that over Cena.
Oh, yeah.
That fit perfectly. I don't know if it was. I doubt if it was planned, but if it was, it fit perfect with Cena being the heel, with Cena no longer being heel, being a fan favorite again, and make a wish Cena for them kids to show those kids crying at that moment. Perfect. You cannot get better than that.
That's a good point.
I will say that I think Triple H has got to start focusing more on just promoting the card itself, because before he's like, oh, there's going to be a ton of surprises, He hypes up surprises, and then the only like real surprise that we get outside of Paul Heyman, I guess, introducing Brock, which they kind of tease at beforehand.
I made the night.
What I would say was like Undertaker coming down to the ring, like, quite frankly, sounding like somebody's drunk uncle at a barbecue, just kind of accidentally wandered to ringside and announcing Stephanie's in the Hall of Fame, like, first off, like, congratulations, Stephanie, you deserve it. But also, even that whole thing was kind of awkward. Because you're just sitting here like, okay, one, you could have just done this in the opening segment when Stephanie's husband was in the ring. And also, just the Undertaker just coming out going, is that chair next to you taken? Can I sit down? Like, dog, Taker, just spit it out. What do you need, man? Love you.
We know Taker's still trying to overcome some of his stuff going on between him and his co-host for the original podcast falling out. He did that dude wrong. So he still is answering to the fans for that part. He sold his podcast to WB and he let his original host just out in the wind, just go. And he's still dealing with backlash from that.
I think Brett made a good point. When he came down to the ring, of course, initially there's a reaction, but he did start sounding like the uncle at the picnic that had one too many. He sounded a lot like Joe Namath the night he was on the sidelines. Yes. He sounded a lot like him. Like he had a couple shots of Cavassier or something. Like something was off about that moment. You also brought up something really intriguing. Maybe the most intriguing moment of the night outside of EO and Stephanie Victor is obviously the continued in between with Heyman and Lesnar, right? Because at some point Seth Rollins is going to be what's up, or is Lesnar going to join the faction as well?
It almost feels like maybe this is leading to War Games. Maybe Brock doesn't actually join the faction, but maybe we're going to get to see Brock Lesnar inside the War Game structure at Survivor Series with the rest of the division.
That would make sense. You bring him back to be this monster heel, and with John Cena on the way out, it makes sense.
It makes sense, but if I'm Seth Rollins and Heyman brings Lesnar back into the fold, you better watch your back.
Oh yeah, but I don't think he gets brought back though. I think they leave Brock out on his own to do as well. I don't think he joins the group.
Yeah, and look, you pointed this out earlier, but Brock and Cena, that was just awful. Look,
finishers match. Saw that was.
I watched the same match 11 years ago at SummerSlam.
Correct.
That's the problem.
Yep.
When you did it the first time at SummerSlam in 2014, one, it made sense. Brock Lesnar was just coming off beating the streak, and that was the only realistic place for him to go was for the title. And you could run the John Cena redemption arc because obviously they both had time and there's a story to be told there. But when you run the same match the second time, it's just not shocking at that point. It's just stupid. It was absolutely terrible. It was just a match that should have never been booked. I'd rather have seen John Cena face a new up and comer than a continued nostalgia run. We already got the nostalgia run. We already got Punk and Orton. I didn't need John Cena versus Brock Lesnar because one, even if you go back and look at the SummerSlam match, strip away the super shock value of Cena getting squashed, for example, which one obviously also that was more shocking because Cena was still book strong. John Cena has lost 20,000 matches in the last 3-4 years, so it's really not as shocking at this point. But the match itself was not good.
Nope.
And this match was just a significantly worse version of that. And nobody wanted to see that. And now it's just what are you going to do? You're going to build some redemption story, I guess, some Rocky 3 stuff between John Cena and Brock Lesnar?
That's exactly where we're headed. By the way, guys, maybe it's just me. Well, you're on wrestling as much as anybody. Over the years, we all know wrestlers' bodies will change as they get older, right? That's a given. Am I the only one to notice that maybe Brock might want to go back to working on the legs a little bit? I'm just saying the upper body is massive. He's got Popeye's upper body and Olive Oil's legs. What happened?
He reminds me of Topo from Dragon Ball Super. All up top, but skip leg day.
But my point is, it wasn't always like that. Go back and look at old Brock Lesnar. The lower body was as massive as the upper body,
right?
And now all of a sudden, it's like he's walking around with a ring announcer's legs. I don't understand.
Toothpicks.
Yeah, it's weird.
He built like an ice cream cone.
if WWE wants to counter program AEW, they got to do a hell of a lot better than they did on Saturday.
He got chicken sticks.
Yeah.
It's weird. That's all I'm saying.
Because they wanted to steal the night from AEW. And in a sense, they kind of did that, but in the worst way possible. Because we're not talking about how great Wrestlepalooza was.
Facts.
In all reality, it's just, hey, the women killed it. Everybody else just kind of stunk it up. But it's unfortunate that they had, a while to plan. And the best they could throw us was a show that belonged on Friday night. They countered the main event with a match that was 11 years too late, and that should have never happened to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're gonna try to do this counter programming shtick, either A, just don't, or B, actually try.
And you brought up a good point about AEW. I'll bring that up real quick because I did get a chance to peek in. I thought it was kind of interesting because now it kind of makes sense. Tony Storm loses to Chris Statlander, but that really has me thinking. Tony Storm, you probably didn't want to lose the belt to Monet,
right? I know.
So
where you're going.
you lose to Chris Statlander, and 9 times out of 10, we're gonna see Monet beat Statlander.
So
I'm pissed off. It makes me upset because Tony Storm's run was great.
Facts. So, Will, is this the setup? Monet's going to take the belt from Statlander, right?
Yep.
And then hold it for a minute, and then eventually her and Tony Storm one more time, right? But only this time she'll be the champion. But that's the setup. You see where that's going.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't have done it that way. I think she's such a great champion. You could have kept the belt on Tony Storm, and the buildup between her and Monet would have still been huge because of the chemistry they had when they were in the ring together.
Right.
I don't. They, basically they're throwing Statlander out there to be a go-between champion, right?
Right. Transitional champion.
Right.
I think it's fine. Here's the thing with Mercedes Moné. I think you need to take a couple titles off of her before you get, depending the women's world title off of her. At least take the TBS title off of her. I think it'd be a really bad idea to have every title in the women's division just resolve around Mercedes Moné, because that's just a lot less opportunity, right? Unless Mercedes is going to start pulling, 2 matches of pay-per-view and 2 matches a night to try to defend both titles. I think that it was fine having Tony Storm beat Mercedes, and even having Statlander win. It was it was a fun surprise, and Chris Statlander definitely deserves it. I think before Mercedes wins the women's world title, I think you need to have her drop the TBS title. So I thought that her, losing to Tony was, fine in that regard. I thought this was fine too. And I definitely do agree that this is going to come back to, Mercedes winning it at some point. But let's just focus on wrapping up her TBS title reign, and then we'll go back to her being the world champion.
My thing with Statlander, is she going to stay healthy long enough to defend it?
Well,
that's my thing with Chris. That's my only issue.
On the upside, guy, look, AEW is sensational. I'm always enjoying AEW and what they put out there.
Oh, yeah.
But because the WWE pay-per-view is so bad, we should get a banger Raw tonight.
We should.
That was still the funniest thing online. I go on Facebook and Twitter, and they're like, guys, hot take. All Out was better than Wrestlepalooza. I'm like, it's not even a hot take. That's just common sense.
That's just common sense.
Facts.
If I listed the best matches of the weekend in order, the top 10 are probably going to be 9 AEW matches and then Io and Stephanie Vakir. And that just wasn't even, the 2 pay-per-view qualities just weren't even close.
So let me ask you guys this: who is going to be Stephanie Vakir's first opponent for the title?
Don't you feel like the next? I think the next progression will be her and Rhea, right? I think it's her and Rhea.
I love to see that.
I think Rhea's going to get the belt back. Maybe I'm not saying right away, but at some point I think it will be her and Rhea because eventually, when Bianca's healthy, they want Bianca and Rhea, right? But it'll be Rhea as the champion.
And can somebody explain Stephanie Vakir's gimmick? What's this?
Oh, the devil's kiss?
No, the finger.
Oh,
I don't know.
I know. She used to point at Booker T before doing the move, but
what's this? Every picture I see, she's already got her finger held up. I'm trying to figure out what it is.
I'm not sure why she started pointing her finger up. Like I said, I know before she did it, the move, she'd always point at Booker T, but now she just kind of points her finger out in the air, up in the air. I thought Booker T was going to have an aneurysm on Tuesday when she did it. Her and Rhea.
Guys, and I know when both of them went to do it, somebody should have had a paramedic come down and get next to Booker.
Absolutely. Yeah, so. But anyway, you know what? It was a great weekend of wrestling. I can't complain. Like I said, I've definitely got a lot of my money's worth out of the AEW pay-per-view.
Facts.
But why don't we talk some NFL, even though, it wasn't really a great weekend for me getting upset by the Browns, but you know what? Things happen. That's all right. Why don't we start with the game from last night, Chiefs versus Giants, and I guess the real question, is it Jackson Dart time? Would you guys run to the rookie this soon, or would you let Russ cook a little more?
Nah, I'm going right to Jackson Dart. Right to Jackson Dart. Russ looked. I saw the highlights of this game. He looked bad yesterday. He just looked like he was off with his throws, too high, too low in certain circumstances. Malik Neighbors didn't do him a whole lot of favors on one of those interceptions. But yeah, I think it's time to put Jackson, and it's only the third game of the season, but I think it's time to put Jackson Dart in. See what you got in the young man.
So, just for perspective, who did the Chiefs play in their first game? The Chargers, right?
Yep.
Defense played well. The offense, not so much. But Justin Herbert didn't look like, Dan Marino that game. He was okay, but he didn't look like Dan Marino. The Chiefs have one of the 5 best defenses. It's a top 5 defense, easy. Maybe.
True.
And so my point is, last week they played the Eagles, right?
Yep. With
much more talent, an offensive line that's 10 levels better than the Giants' offensive line, correct?
Yep.
And Jalen Hurts threw for how many yards? That's my point. So I think right. My point is, too many people are in a rush to move on from Russell Wilson. What did you expect the Giants offense to look like against one of the best defenses in football when an Eagles offense with more weapons, a dominant offensive line, couldn't do much with it? You know what I'm saying? Hurts threw for 100 yards. Russ threw for 98 or 160. Russ's problem was Daboll wanted him to be patient. Daboll wanted to take all the dump down passes, right? The Chiefs weren't going to let you get deep. They weren't going to let Malik Neighbors run wild. Everything they were going to be able to get was going to be underneath. And multiple times Russ got impatient and he would push one downfield unnecessarily. Outside of that, he played in terms of their strategy. He went with the game plan to the hill. But what were you going to do? Who's the other guy on the other side of Malik Neighbors that's going to garner enough attention to where they can be productive on the outside? Where's the Giants tight end? The little bit of a running game they had from Scatterboo, he was the only one, but they don't have much. And so everybody's like, put Jackson Dart in. So once Jackson Dart gets put in and he gets busted up and he throws 3 or 4 picks and the Giants lose another 3 or 4 games, is Jackson Dart the starter for the rest of the year no matter what's happening? Now, I'm just asking that question. No matter what happens, is he the starter for the rest of the year?
I think once you kind of open that door to let Jackson Dart in, it's just too late to close it at that point.
Yeah. Once you let him in, that's it. That's
all
it.
Right. All right. So all I'm saying is all these people that are like, put him in. You can put him in and you can also ruin him. Their offensive line is not going to get better overnight. And we've already seen when he takes off, he doesn't know how to protect himself. There's no way he's going to make it through a season. But if that's the strategy, put him in. I don't get it, but okay.
No, you know what's funny? I feel like they should go to Jameis before they go to Dart. Yeah, I think that you put Dart in before he's ready, and you just have a very, very good chance of ruining him. Like letting Russ. We know Russ has been regressing for a couple of years now. That's not a secret. But it's not like you brought Russ in to win football games. You brought him in to mentor and just kind of take the beating so Jackson Dart doesn't have to this year. It was never about winning football games. It was never really about being competitive for the Giants this year, if we're being serious. It was really about just getting through the end of the year, getting your lottery pick, and maybe building something for next year. So I think that if you want to take out Russ, like that's fine, I guess. But I would definitely turn to Jameis. Don't rush Jackson Dart in before he's ready. You want to be impatient if you're a Giants fan. I get it. You've been through a lot, but at the end of the day, you rush your quarterback, and now you're going to be in for another 5 years of misery if you ruin him this early. So
fact,
it's just best to be patient.
And look, they have been competitive. That's the funny part. It's not like the Chiefs were great. They won 22-9. But and the truth is, Russ's 2 interceptions, that really is the difference between him and Mahomes. Mahomes he had a good game, but he didn't have a monster game. The Chiefs put up 22 points. They didn't dominate the Giants' defense. They were less worse than the Giants' offense.
But I do want to say this: being patient, is kind of hard to do when you're in New York. That's sort of kind of hard to do with the way that media scrutiny is in New York. That's a pressure cooker, and if the fans start turning in with voting on you, oh boy, I agree with you, fellas. There's a good chance you can ruin Jackson Dart. It's a good way that you could do that. But I don't think Winston would be any better than Russ. He might be worse in a sense. And I'm just thinking about the fan aspect of it, because again, that meeting of scrutiny is tough. And yeah, Kyle, you brought up a good point. That schedule may help Russ remain at a starter, but at some point you're gonna have to tear off the Band-Aid and put Jackson Dart in.
But what you said about that pressure, that didn't work both ways, because they want Jackson Dart. But when Jackson Dart gets out there and he takes a beating and he throws a few picks and they lose some games under him, is that love affair going to be the same?
That's a good point.
No, absolutely.
But between him, but they got a couple of media darlings up there now. You got Dart. You saw Scatterboo went for that touchdown yesterday. They love Cam. They love Cam Scatterboo. So I just maybe let him start 2 more games, see if he can improve. But I just think at some point Dart will be in there.
No, absolutely. There's a couple names that too that I think even So normally I think half the time after week 3, it's sometimes too early to say somebody should be fired, but guys, there's 2 names I think have just got to go. One, for sure, I'm going to go turn to my Packers, and that's Rich Bisaccia, a special teams coach. Guys, he has got to go. He is the highest special teams coordinator by a margin, and I'm convinced that he just hangs out on the sidelines and like plays Fruit Ninja the entire game in practice or something, because I still can't figure out what he does for the special teams, which has actively gotten worse around him. Like,
You could make an argument. You could make an argument. Special teams was terrible all the way around yesterday. What was going on with the Rams and the Eagles?
Say no, absolutely. So, but the other guy, I think this one is past its due date for sure, especially after the fiasco that was yesterday and last week. Brian Callahan of the Tennessee Titans. He has got to go. What happened yesterday was beyond inexcusable. That just cannot happen. This is coming after, like, I jokingly said that last week. They had the worst play design of all time when they ran a screenplay, and the wide receivers didn't know who the screenplay was for. So we had 3 wide receivers going to block one guy, and nobody stayed to actually catch the football.
I saw that in the highlights.
However, nothing can top the disaster of having a field goal attempt, 4th and 1, 57 yards, having to burn a timeout just to end up taking a delay of game penalty when you know you're kicking a field goal to make the field goal attempt even harder. And then guess what happens? You missed the field goal. And this was after 3 straight runs when you're at like the 57 and you didn't get anywhere.
57-yard field goal is no gimme. You need all your leg strength to hit that thing, and to get called back more. Right.
And the fact that you just went run, like you were trying to just stay in position for a 20-yard field goal, is just the most mind-boggling thing ever. Like, look, I'm sure Callahan's a nice guy. I'm sure he's great, but as a head coach, he's just terrible. He just doesn't have it. He's got to go. I know it's week 3, but I don't know how much more Titans fans can take after watching that disaster that was yesterday, the week before that. When you have the worst record of any head coach in their first 20 games, he might be worse than Urban Meyer. And that's
hold up now. Wait a minute. Hold up.
I'm not even kidding. He very well could
hold
be
up
worse
now.
than Urban Meyer.
Oh man.
On the flip side, they lost to a better football team. The Colts they're just a better football team. And we go on. Here we go with them Colts 3-0. And look, I don't want to take credit for calling this game because I think the Colts beating the Tennessee Titans is low-hanging fruit. They're supposed to beat the Tennessee Titans. They're better than them.
Yep.
The Colts have one of the best offensive line in football. Best running back. I keep saying it. One of the best running backs in football.
Mm-hmm.
Underrated receiving core.
Mm-hmm.
And they have Daniel Dimes. I wanted Danny Dimes to be an effective game manager. He's playing above game manager. He's punching above that. And if
let's also give him props on that offensive line. That offensive line is very good offensive line.
Terrific offensive line. And the defense, I wouldn't call it a dominant defense. I would call it a very opportunistic defense. They're very good opportunistic defense. But I'm saying, look, if he's going to be this to go with what they can do in the run game, they're running away with this division. They're supposed to. When you look at who else is in the division, who's supposed to challenge them?
Texans are a disappointment. Jacksonville a disappointment.
Texans can't challenge them because of their offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
They can't. Like, if CJ Stroud has got to put on his cape and be like Michael Vick, then the Texans are going to be in trouble. That's not really the strength of his game or what he does best.
Yep.
The offensive line alone is why the Texans won't compete.
The Texans offensive line has got CJ Stroud PR in shambles. I saw people hitting him with that Michael Carter Williams comparison. I'm like, oh no.
Oh, no,
Greatest rookie year, but that's about it.
that's not right. That's not fair.
That ain't fair at all.
Because I think Stroud is the real deal, but he's in the middle of some tough times right now. But the Michael Carter Williams is hard.
He is in a bad situation. This is true.
Now the Texans, I wouldn't even call the Texans a disappointment because I think if you really watch their offseason, this is kind of what we expected. They're not really disappointing because I kind of expected them to be bad. They got rid of their best offensive lineman, and then their replacement was just drafting like one offensive lineman, I believe, in like the third round of the draft, who was like a swing tackle, and you're just like, what are you? That's not going to just replace Tunzel. Like it was just a bad offseason for the Texans, and you immediately knew like they didn't do enough. This isn't going to work. And sure enough, now CJ Stroud just, you could tell he's kind of at a point where he's seeing ghosts. Like he feels like he doesn't have any time in the pocket, and he just has to get rid of that football, and it's just kind of costing the rest of the offense.
Ain't doing CJ Stroud no favors. None. And with Joe Mixon being out, not that the offensive line would have done him any favors either, but that just hurts.
Let's say, the Thursday night commentator bringing up the Tyreek Hill situation.
That was trash too.
Right.
That was trash too. I saw that. That was trash too.
Not going to get.
No, go ahead.
I'll say Tyreek is not going to get any sympathy from me out of that one.
Nah.
Put it that way. Hey, you know what's even you know what sucks even worse? Beating your wife. So Tyreek Hill is not going to get any sympathy from me for that one.
Facts.
Allegedly. And
thank you, Ma. I'm about to say something.
Allegedly, Tyreek Hill has had issues like this in the past. And this is what I'll say. If you're allegedly accused of that multiple times throughout your life, allegedly you got some problems, right? As a man, you got some problems, and you might want to work through that before you're in another relationship. I'll leave it at that.
Yep. Agreed. Perfectly said, my friend.
No, absolutely. I think that the game that maybe almost shocked me the most was I thought at least the game between Atlanta and Carolina would be competitive. I didn't expect a 30-0 Carolina blowout. That was surprising.
I picked Carolina to win this game, but I am not going to lie. Guys, I thought it was going to be one of those nobodies between two young quarterbacks struggling, and it would come down to like the final possession. What happened to Atlanta's offense? That was an embarrassment.
Huge embarrassment. I thought you would have saw some fireworks with Penix and Drake London. I thought Bijan would have continued to play well. I thought Kyle Pitts was on the upswing compared to where he was this point last season. They were just flat yesterday from what I saw.
They don't trust Penix.
No.
The way they call the game when you watch them play, they don't trust him. They want him to dink, and I mean everything is so bland, so plain,
rudimentary.
They don't trust him.
Yeah, it's funny. Hey, fair enough, Damien. It's weird that they drafted this guy after seeing him like at Washington. They built an entire offense around his deep ball and intermediate game, and they bring him in just to dink and dunk. Like it just doesn't really make sense what they're doing over there. It's not like they lack weapons between Pitts, Drake London, Darnell Mooney, Bijan Robinson. Like you have weapons to attack vertically, but they just choose not to. They're almost like, hey, you know what? Do you want to be the NFC Tua, where you have all these great weapons, but we're only going to attack within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage?
The NFC too.
It just doesn't make sense what they're doing with him.
That was good.
You know who I blame for this? Raheem Morris. Blame you. I blame you. 20 everything that's going on in that went wrong in that game yesterday. And for the season, I blame you. You have too many weapons to be stacked in an offense like that. You should be opening things up, giving Penix a chance to make that offense better. And the better your offense is, the better your defense is going to be, because they're not going to be on the field. So I don't understand what he's doing.
I blame him for one simple fact. I'm not telling anybody that I don't think Penix can be a good quarterback in this league. I do. But the best quarterback on that team is on the bench.
Yep.
Even though he had an off season, like you say whatever you want about him, we know when healthy, Kurt is a better quarterback than Michael Penix. It's not even close.
And look, the thing that kills me with that, Mo, he's on your bench up for trade, but the Falcons want a premium draft pick because of that contract.
Right.
It's like, okay, you don't value him, but we have to value him with that high of a pick. Okay, make it make sense.
Which is why nobody's giving him that pick.
Exactly. If you don't value Kirk Cousins, why should we?
No, absolutely. I'd say we had a really fun game. A lot of happy Eagles fans as they came back to beat the Rams. It's just such a great game to watch. Just an instant back and forth classic between the two teams. Rams jumped out to a big lead, and shout out to the Eagles just for showing the heart of a champion, never gave up, and got themselves back in the football game where a lot of teams would have folded. They fought their way back and ended up winning that game. So that was really impressive by them.
We finally got a good day. We finally got a good game out of AJ Brown this season. He played wonderful yesterday. He was physical yesterday. Caught some tough passes. Kind of put the team on his back a little bit in the second half. Devontae Smith, yes, on that outside route. And man coverage, he took the outside route, scored that touchdown. He looked good yesterday. They did bottle Saquon up, though, and I thought that part was impressive from the Rams defense. They kind of bottling him up a little bit, but that secondary got tore up.
I think it's pick your poison. Saquon's been bottled up all season so far.
Yep.
And the Rams did a great job. And to Jalen Hurts' credit, they made the adjustments to be more aggressive and attack any one-on-ones they got. And that opened up everything once he started going to A.J. Brown. The Rams said, we're going to see if Jalen Hurts can beat us throwing the football. And Jalen Hurts said, watch me do it.
Yep.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yes, Cowboys are still a dumpster fire. CeeDee Lamb got hurt. Say they got rolled by the Bears and Caleb Williams. So, Caleb Williams looked impressive. I'll give him all the credit in the world.
It's the Cowboys, though.
Will, you read my mind. Look, I'm going to say what I said. It took the Dallas Cowboys to make Caleb Williams look special, to look transcendent. I want to remind everybody, a 36-year-old quarterback just dropped 450 yards on their heads and 3 touchdowns. So Caleb Williams doing it. Well, look, it's great. It's a really good game. I don't want to hear any Caleb Williams fans come out there and go, look what Caleb did. Like, y'all keep telling me Russ is washed. If a washed guy can do it, I'm just saying. You get no credit for beating up on the Cowboys.
No credit at all.
No credit at all. Come on, man.
I will say though, DJ Moore need to be careful because Odunze is on his back when it comes to being that number one receiver, because he had a good game yesterday.
I don't think DJ Moore's the number one anymore because they don't really look for him. Look at his number of targets. I don't even think he's number 2.
Well, he is playing well.
They go to the tight end more than they go to him.
And we saw Loveland got a couple of catches. We saw Cole Kmet still be that guy in the end zone. I was really impressed with Odunze yesterday. From the Cowboys side, with the exception of one play, George Pickens looked good. And Jake Ferguson had a really good game yesterday. Really good game. He was like a machine at tight end yesterday. I didn't start him in fantasy, and I'm sorry I didn't because he had a good game yesterday.
I'm gonna give Caleb Williams his flowers for this. It was against the Cowboys, but he was really accurate. He got the ball out of his hands really fast, and he deserves credit for doing that. I just want to see him do it versus a good defense.
Right.
Oh, fair enough. Take a W if I can get it. If it's the Cowboys or the Browns, hey, fair enough. Like I said,
Damien's a Bears fan, right?
Yeah.
Don't get excited if y'all play the Browns because Caleb's not going to do that against the Browns.
Browns are a little bit of a step up on that defense.
Like I said, look, I'll address my Packers fans real quick because I think it's important because I'm seeing a lot of overreactions, and all I'm going to say is relax. RELAX. It's one of those things where
did Brett just go? Did Brett just go to Aaron Rodgers' route?
He did.
At the end of the day, we ended up having to play offensive line shuffle because we had multiple injuries right away to the offensive line against one of the better defensive lines in the league. And it didn't go well. Are there things to work on? Absolutely. Are we still going to win the division? Absolutely.
No
argument. Are we still going to make a deep playoff run? Absolutely. I'm not concerned about a week 3 loss versus the Browns. Did it show things that we have to work on? Yeah. Do I still think that Rich Bisaccia needs to be fired? Yeah, but that was something that I thought last year too. So nothing changes going into this year on that front. So it was disappointing, and we do have to work on some things, but
that was a weird game.
It was a weird game.
Brett, y'all up 13. It's 13-3 with 4 minutes left. I mean, you almost can book that. You'd have to give that game away. So if I'm a Packers fan, while you didn't play your best game to that point, you should have won that game.
They were right there.
Jordan throws the bad pick. They score. And I mean, it was like a weird landslide in the last 4 minutes of the game. That it was so flukish that if I were a Packers fan, I'd be mad, but I wouldn't be worried. I wouldn't be worried at all.
And that's where I'm at. Like, there's so many Packers fans that are freaking out, and it immediately went to, Matt LaFleur's got to go again. It's like, we're not starting this again. So, look, at the end of the day, we beat 2 playoff teams, and we just happened to lose the third one. So it's one of those things. Like, we'll be all right. It's not beating up on some crappy Cowboys defense and victory running it. We'll do that next week, Damien. Don't even worry about it. Oh, now, like I said, though, give your Bears credit. They looked good yesterday, though. So
They did.
They did. DeAndre Swift had a good game also.
Say the Seahawks look good. They just absolutely steamrolled the Saints.
Why we got to bring that up? Why we got to bring that up?
I'm sorry.
Why? Why?
Will doesn't need that.
I don't need that, man. He threw them bad picks. Spencer Rattler threw those 2 bad picks yesterday. Killed ourselves in penalties. Couldn't get a stop to save our life on defense yesterday. Just an overall bad game, an embarrassment, a dumpster fire. And everybody keeps telling me we need to put Tyler Shuck in the game. Is he really gonna make a difference? Really? Offensive line played horrible yesterday. Man, my team's cooked. They cooked.
You know what you said, Will, before the season started, that it was a developmental year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's true. I think that also applies to your quarterback position. And what I'm saying is, we both agree we don't think Rattler is a starting quarterback.
He ain't the guy. No.
But what the Saints are doing is they're saying we're going to give you every opportunity to show us if you're even a good backup, right? Because I feel like they're letting him play, not to say that he could be the guy, but could he be part of the football team at all?
Right. I feel you.
Say no, fair enough. And why don't we make some predictions real quick tonight? We got a fun one. We got Lions and Ravens. Who you guys got winning this one tonight?
Ooh.
It'll be a tough one.
I'm gonna. What shows suck is almost 40. Why?
It's messed up, man.
Come on, Kyle. Come on, man.
That's messed up,
And
man.
you thought I was bad. Come on. That was terrific, Kyle. I love
Oh my gosh. Why wait? Go on, put him in now.
I actually agree with Damien. I think the Ravens just slaughter the Lions.
I feel like it should be what Damien said, Brett, but I think it's going to be more like Bills versus Ravens.
Yeah.
That's what I feel like it's going to end up being.
I still got concerns about Jair Alexander. He got torched game 1. So I don't know what he's going to do against this team that can pretty much run a track meet with anybody with those receivers, Jameson Williams and Amar St. Brown. Sam Laporta too may factor in. I feel like Baltimore should win this game. I feel they should, but I just think it's going to be closer than what people think it's going to be.
I'll go Ravens in a shootout. I
think it's good. Yeah, something like 34, something like 31-28.
Yeah, I think it's going to be more. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. Ravens in a shootout.
Yeah, I think the Ravens will win, but I think it's a shootout and close. I don't think it's going to be a blowout by any means.
Hey, you know what? I'll stick with my Ravens blowout prediction. I think that at the end of the day, this is a Lions team that still has a problem where you can pressure them up the middle and really bother Jared Goff, and that's the big difference. That's the only reason I won't compare them to like the Buffalo game. Like, I'm glad that they dropped 50 on the Bears, but I've seen them face one real football team this year, and they got absolutely stymied by Green Bay in week 1. And that's the only like real sample size I have of them so far, is them just getting boat raced by Green Bay. And he can't just put on his Superman cape like, Josh Allen, and Jared Goff just can't do that. So they're going to have to score points early and often if they want to stay in it, but I think the Ravens will be ready for it, and they'll move him off of his spot and move him off of his first read, and that's always been a problem for Jared Goff.
We'll definitely see.
So, yeah, Kyle, this is the type of game the Ravens win in a blowout. They love teasing their fans in the regular season.
I think this could be a big game for a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs. If I'm Jared Goff, I'm going to slow down that pass rush with swing passes to Jahmyr Gibbs in space. There's no one person that's going to be able to tackle him in space.
I think Sam Laporta might have a huge game too, because he's your quarterback's tight end is your quarterback's best friend at the end of the day. So I think Laporta might have a big game in terms of getting a bunch of receptions. I don't know about touchdowns, but getting a bunch of receptions. Yeah, I think he's going to have a good game too.
And you mentioned Jair Alexander earlier. I think when it comes to Jair, there's just nothing to expect from him at this point. I think he's just cooked.
I think he is too.
I think he's a situational player at this point. Like, you don't want to try to have him play every snap. He just doesn't have the energy for it. It's clear that the leg injuries have just kind of zapped his athleticism, and that was very apparent in that week 1 loss against Buffalo, and he was a healthy scratch last week, apparently.
Yep, he was.
So I think, the Ravens also know that, and I think if he does come back to play, I think he's just going to pretty much be a rotational player at this point in his career.
Yeah.
That's a good question, Damien. That's a really good question, actually.
No, I don't think they're rethinking it. I think it would take a lot more So I think it would take a little more than what's going on right now because it feels early, right? Like they just started this whole real partnership and everybody's canceling their Disney Plus subscription for now, but a lot of people they won't stick with it. They're pretty fickle about that. So we'll see. But when it comes to right now, I don't think they're rethinking their partnership at all. But if this continues where everybody's, jumping ship from Disney, etc., in like a year from now, then I think that it's very much a possibility. But as of right now, I don't think they're rethinking anything.
I think that you're going to see real numbers within a week of the impact of whatever's happening with Disney. And it's not like they made the deal. So we always talk about married the coach to the quarterback. Well, ESPN is married to. They're not going anywhere because ESPN is under ABC and ABC is under Disney. We all know that.
Mm-hmm.
But what's happening, and I don't want to drift into that lane. I don't think that's a temporary thing, because when you start talking about stuff that people believe in, their belief systems and all that, and how this impacts that, I don't think this is a small thing. I think Disney's got a big problem.
Oh, hey, you know what? Fair enough. Like I said, it very well could be, but I feel like it's just too early in the partnership for them to really be rethinking or worried about anything quite yet.
You may take 3 or 4 bad shows before we see any rethinking of the process.
I say it. Look, they already set the bar so low with Wrestlepalooza that there's only one way to go at this point. Like they're already in the basement. They can't really go any lower than that
one.
Good point. Good point. Like I said, I'm expecting a banger Raw tonight.
It better be.
I find it weird that they haven't announced anything for Raw yet. They haven't advertised anything. We still have no clue what's even happening on Raw tonight, which I find very interesting to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, but could that be a reaction to the fans' reaction to Wrestlepalooza, right? Where Triple H is like, all right, everything we planned, we're scrapping it. We're going with you know what I mean? Like
yeah.
He even knows how bad that was.
Yeah.
I want to think that, but at the same time, I feel like I don't know. They're in such a rut right now that on one hand, I want to think they're planning the most like banger of a show that we've seen in a while. But I feel like, it's going to be Raw starts up. Oh, here comes the Vision to cut a promo. Oh, here we go. We're going to get since now it's going to be Seth and Cody at Crown Jewel. Oh, we're going to get some version of Cody Rhodes versus some member of the Vision, and it's going to be an interference, and we're going to end the show with a beatdown with the Vision.
Look, here's my thing. You were up against Monday Night Football. I've said this for years. Anybody who's watched any of my shows, Wrestling Calling Show, Sports Report, any of my shows, I've always said this about WWE Raw and Monday Night. Raw needs to be its best, especially against the NFL. It needs to be the best show that you have during that period. Raw can't lack, and it's been lacking seriously lately. They need to up the game if they expect to keep the fans involved, because there's a Monday Night Football game right next to you.
So they also need to up the game if they want fans to, keep showing up with the way the ticket prices are going.
Oh, yeah.
I agree.
Agree with that.
Especially with their head honcho there from TKO going, yeah, Vince would always just gear the ticket prices towards family, so there's a lot more money to be made, pretty much saying that the ticket prices are only going to go up from here, so...
Like, bro, really? You expect to keep your fan base with a statement like that?
Right.
100% do.
Craziness.
But look, I know we're about to end here, but what he said, I don't think that's just a symptom of the WWE in the business. We just heard NBA Commissioner Adam Silver say something very similar to that. Did we not?
We
He
did.
said that the NBA is basically a high, like it's a high, you can catch what you don't want to pay for on YouTube. It's a highlight league. Like what? You're the commissioner, and that's your line.
Yeah, that was just stupid. There's so much to catch in the game of basketball that you can't catch in, the highlights, and
Right.
it was just unfortunate that he said that. It feels like the problem is at its core that Adam Silver doesn't seem like he's a fan of basketball, and it just kind of shows with that statement. It's unfortunate, but
I like the way
I hated
that.
Yeah, no, I just hate it. I just hated every moment of that. Adam Silver saying that.
I got something I got to disagree with real quick before we get out of here. Damon, I disagree from the standpoint of what Stephanie McMahon has done in the past in the E. Her contribute before she got in that bad situation with her father. She did contribute a lot to what WWE's done in the past. She has been in the ring before. She's been in storylines. I think her contributions to WWE and what she's done puts her into the Hall of Fame. Hell, we've seen less people contribute getting to the Hall of Fame. So I think that she deserves it because there's more to contribute than just by being a wrestler. And I think she deserves to be there.
So, look, WWE Hall of Fame, it's not like it's that exclusive of a club.
Exactly.
So it's whatever, Stephanie making it. I'm okay with it. We knew she was going to get in at some point, so I'm okay with it.
I'm fine with it too. I say, her stuff that she did in the past with her husband, stuff she did promo wise with Chris Jericho,
right?
I think she deserves to be there just for her contributions. Remember, not all contributions to pro wrestling has to be in the ring. Let's remember that too.
That's where I'm at. I think just her overall contributions put her in the Hall of Fame. And to Kyle's point, he's right. It was a commentary on the viewing public. A lot of people only watch the highlights. If you're coming at it from that perspective, there's some truth in that. Trust me, because Brett and I have had so many conversations or disagreements with people who, if you listen to them make their debates about basketball, it's like they literally only watch the highlights without actually getting into the game and the nuances of the game. So, yeah, I get where he was coming from, but as the commissioner, I would have used different words. That's all I'm saying.
Look, you don't want people only watching the highlights. That's how you get, like, people all of a sudden talking about, well, you know what? Maybe Jason Williams really was an underrated basketball player. He could score, he could pass.
Oh my God, not him again.
Right. It's one of those things where you're just kind of like, you want people to watch and catch the full nuance of the game. So
they made this guy a legend. Good God.
Highlight legend Jason Williams. So
we talking about white chocolate, right?
Not chocolate. Yeah, not chocolate.
He gets so much love and hype at times. They're like, yeah, but do you see his elbow pass? I'm like,
listen, the thing with me,
under 40% from the field too.
The thing with me, he was great for the highlights, but what did he win?
Say not for winning basketball games, but he had a sick highlight reel.
Great for the highlights, but what did he win?
Oh my God. You think it's an accident that the Kings got better as soon as they got rid of him? An accident? An accident.
Yep.
You look, Mike Bibby doesn't have a mean highlight reel, but everybody knows Mike Bibby was a better basketball player. Everybody knows that.
Yep.
No, absolutely. So, but yeah, we reached our hour. We're out of time. By the way, I think Kuminga's staying in Golden State at this point.
I do too.
Nobody has the money to pay him except Golden State at this point. So, and they clearly can't figure out a dollar amount. So I think it's just going to be where I think Kuminga just takes the qualifying offer and they keep this partnership going for one more year and then he leaves.
He bets on himself. Good move.
Yeah. We've seen that backfire in the past, so let's see if it happens this time.
This is true.
Anything you guys want to add before we get up on out of here?
I just want to say real quick, join me tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern, for the Sports Report podcast right here on Wire Network.
Thank you guys so much for joining us. Make sure you check out all the great content we have at Wire Network. Wire Network, we appreciate you guys.
And you can catch Mo and I tomorrow for Meaty Boys. It's going to be a great time. I think I'm going to have a little fun. I'm going to rank all the matches that happened this weekend in order of best to worst, and we'll see if y'all agree or disagree. We'll obviously probably talk some more about the pay-per-views and things going forward. You can also catch us Thursday for And One. Already got a whole tier list set up, and we're going to be ranking the centers and how we think they're going to do this year. It's going to be a blast, I promise you. That being said, we definitely thank you for tuning in for today and hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night.